Hi guys, welcome to the new Skint Studios. During the restrictions that have been put upon us, I've tried to keep as busy as I can by doing a number of things to the studio to make it a better place. First things first, we've had to pay attention to the sound and try and get it as best we can. Whilst it's still not finished, we've still got a suspended ceiling to be put in above. We've already started by cutting the studio space in half, blocking up the roller shutter doors and having access through double doors, and also double doors to the main studio part. As you can see behind me, it's pretty cool really. We've got a few sort of assisting lights, shall we say, and the acoustic foam base behind, and like I said, it's all targeted around bringing better content. And during this time I've been doing a lot of thinking, really thinking about what to do next when we are allowed to have people at the studio, really. And it also took me back then to the last image that we did. That was the Holland and Beyond shoot where the journeyman was inside a submarine. Basically, whilst I've been sort of painting and screwing screws in walls and making bits and pieces, it's got me sort of starting to think about an idea loosely based around transportation and the journeyman. Of course, in the last image he was inside a submarine, so I'm wondering whether or not I can keep the same principle of a small set build that's, number one, not too costly, number two, it tells a story, and number three, obviously, I'll be the person, the model in front of the camera. Of course, I can do this now using the Sony camera and auto tracking, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So, to be fair, I've been thinking about some sort of mode of transportation and what I can use, but I'm not quite sure yet. I'm sure the next couple of weeks we'll create some sort of idea to hit the ground running. But yeah, I've got some new inspiration and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you pretty soon. I get more clarity on my ideas and stuff, and I make more sense of my thoughts when I'm out walking the dog, or very often I'll just go power walking, listening to music and stuff. With the idea of the journeyman using transport to tell a story, I started to think along the lines of a scooter or roller skates or a skateboard even. I think it would have been brilliant to have used a vintage push bike, because after all the props would have to fit into the studio. There couldn't be anything really too big. I started sketching initial ideas around travel and transport, and as per usual, I got distracted. I also like it when it's dark, because any little distraction to me usually throws me into all crazy rabbit holes of thoughts and ideas that are pretty much impossible to recreate in the studio. Once I got back to the house, I knew exactly where this story was going. I grabbed some pencils and completed the idea, and I even thought of a title. I like this part of the process because some are usually very simple sketches, detailed sketches, and others are just scrap bits of paper with awful childlike scribbles all over the place. But it kind of looks good in its own way, and I often reflect back upon them. When I look back on past scribbles with a smile, and it's usually the good memories of the banter and the mistakes we make along the way, there obviously are plenty of them. It's The Journeyman, starring A Moving Story. As soon as I woke up the next day, I was all over eBay, Amazon, and even Facebook Marketplace. By this time, I'm looking for old suitcases, I'm looking for motorbike goggles, and I will literally beg, steal, and borrow any old odd items if it means getting that single shot that we need. This time actually, Facebook Marketplace was the best place for suitcases because I could shop locally rather than pay for delivery and stuff, and I can go and collect it myself because after all, they are quite sort of bulky things. By the time the overall cost of the cases were in, we were about sort of £60 and £10 for the goggles. So all in all, I would have thought this shot cost about, so let's just say round up to about £100. Once the goggles arrived, they were savagely accepted and signed for by the dog from eBay. The next few days saw me travel around locally and further afield really, collecting the cases. I felt like I was constantly handing over money for empty things, pun intended. So potentially that's the hardest part done, sourcing the motorcycle. Basically, one of the lads in the garage nearby the studio has a motorcycle. The question is, what type is it? Is it old enough? I don't want anything new. So we'll pop over and take a look, see what he's got, and hopefully it'll be suitable for the job. The lads in the garage next door to the studio, they know us really well, and secretly they love what I do, and they fall over themselves to help us with anything that they can do or anything that they can give to be in one of our shots. The old Honda CB350 was whisked away to the studio where my best mate Gez was ready to pick me up and the bike if we both fell over. We then set the bike into its place along with its new friends, the cases, the goggles, and of course, the legendary Journeyman's suit. I think we wanted this shot to be about expression and with minimal distraction to the scene. It was suggested by Gez and decided to go with the gravity hand-painted backdrop using the grey floor as the road. As usual, Gez then came up with simply the best idea of how to stack the cases to look like they were strapped to the back seat of the motorcycle. We used a C-stand and the Tether Tools aero tray to mount them on, and to be honest, it looked pretty good because I'm quite clumsy when it comes to sort of getting on and off motorcycles. We then decided to get the lights into place. It was my usual 3-light setup, and we really wanted the set looking like it was lit but not overly styled. Something near natural light if you can. You can see here I'm looking rather bizarre, pulling different shapes and stuff, but I started to look at myself on the monitor. You can just see the edge of the monitor on the right hand side of your screen. I thought about using the umbrella to sort of hang on and hold on to the cases, but to be honest, it looked quite rubbish and it didn't really work. With nothing left to fuss over now, there's always a time when Gez usually says to me, "Damn it, let's just shoot, let's just get on with it." And it's a case of really, suit on, Sony on. The part that's all new to me is the complete wireless tethering. No cables, and I can watch myself live on screen, hitting stupid awful poses, and watch and monitor the way I look and how the composition's going to be. The other single most important thing for me when I'm shooting the Journeyman is the auto eye tracking. Being out on location on my own has just become very easy all of a sudden with this feature. It is just so good to see the little square stalking you, and it increases my keeper rate from about 60% to 99%. You just know that the shots are going to be sharp all of the time. These features have just helped me no end, and I just can't quite grasp the fact that I took this image on a self-timed camera with silent shutter and completely locked in focus on my eyes, on my face. I mean, it just doesn't come any better than that. Okay, that was a fun shoot. We had a great laugh, and to be honest, it was one of my most favorite ones to do, to be fair. So now that's done, I usually try and get as much done in camera, as you could probably see by the videos that we've shown. So we're going to jump over into Photoshop, apply a few LUTs, a few of my own Journeyman LUTs, and see how we go with that. And hopefully it'll only take a few steps to get it done and ready for print. Okay, so here's two images. I've got the final image and the image of the road I collected earlier. I'm just going to overlay the road and mask out the bottom end of the bike and my feet. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a reflective gradient mask and repeat the process again around the bottom end of the bike and my feet. I'll use the road on an overlay blend mode, and then I'll do some adjustments with levels and curves just to keep it bright in the center whilst keeping it slightly darker around the edges to draw you in on the motorcyclist himself. Then I'll finally add some LUTs from the Journeyman pack that you can get off my website. The LUTs I've used for this one was Yesteryear at 15%, Downtown at 25%, and finally Endeavour at 35%. These were all done on a normal blend mode rather than any other, and the opacities were dropped to suit. Once I've done that, I go on to some sharpening, ready for print. This is all pretty minimal, and the way I sharpen is using unsharp mask with a radius and pixels ramped right up to sort of 18, which is correct for the settings for my camera. It might be different for yours. And once that's done, it's pretty much ready for print. I will mask out areas where I don't need the sharpening, but overall my processing is pretty minimal. I would say for this shot, the processing that I have done is probably a lot more than what I usually would do on any other images that I've worked on. So this is something that, again, I've taken a bit more time on processing, but I think it suits. So there we go. So that is the final image of a moving story with the Journeyman. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching this video. If you've liked what you've seen and you'd like to see more, then why not hit subscribe and ring the bell for any notifications, if that makes sense, whatever that means. But yeah, feel free to comment below. Your comments are much appreciated and it inspires me to do more. So thanks again. I'll catch you soon.